One word. One word. This that. Back on the mat, back on the right, back on the left, back on the back. Back with shit, I'm a beast in my habitat. This that. Back on the mat, back on the right, back on the left, back on the back. Back with shit, I'm a beast in my habitat. Whoa. I'm a beast in my habitat. I'm a beast in my habitat. I'm a beast in my habitat. Shit, I'm a beast in my habitat. I'm a beast in my habitat. Shit, I'm a beast in my habitat. I'm a beast in my habitat. Better than I dream. Bally NBA. Scoring NFL. Wow. Foreign like a raid. Biggie so happy. Wow. Big hit out my way. I might put you on my payroll. Put you on my page. I might take your bitch shopping with your money. Then go hit it. Hit her at your crib. Then come make you get it. Then I hit your sister. Answer me like sisters. Listen up, those pictures got her naked and they look straight. Wow. I'm proud and she know that I do it. I'm the realest. I'm the realest.
Welcome, everyone, to another week of Thunderdome Fantasy Weekly Report. I am the Commissioner, Evan Krill, Dragons GM. You see it down low. Don't know if you can hear me. Hope everybody can. Things are a little different. Got a new phone. As you can see, my crisp ass, camera going on. It's going to be a long week. We missed last week due to Thanksgiving. Happy holidays, everybody. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Before I go any further, let's go ahead and bring in my co-host, also the co-commissioner, Mr. John Creel.
What's up, everybody?
Can you hear me?
Good. Oh, yeah.
Okay, because I can't use my headset because this new phone don't have a headphone jack, so I'm charging my Bluetooth, seeing if I can get that shit to work, but it's time.
That'll be for next week.
Look at that next week. Before I get any further, we'll go ahead and drop this down on there. It ain't nothing special. It's just this week's matchups coming up. Seeing how we had 2 weeks worth of games that we needed to talk about, I didn't want to go through and put all of those weeks of games.
That crawler would be 10 miles long.
And plus, I'm only allowed 1,000 words on the crawler, and I don't think it would all fit.
No, probably not. You'd have to abbreviate like a motherfucker.
Yeah. Or I would have had to have 2 different crawlers and just jump back and forth from them, but I ain't got the attention span to be doing that and doing the damn show at the same time. I can barely remember to pay attention to comments. So
right.
Here we go. Week 11. We'll go ahead and get into Thanksgiving week and get that out, or actually the week before Thanksgiving week. Get that out of the way. Pass it over to my co-host, Mr. John Creel.
All right. So the first game, that was the Legend Killers against the Pigskin King. And go ahead and hit us up with that score on that one.
Legend Killers pulled out the victory 224 to 204.36. This was a 19.64 point win margin for the Legend Killers that week.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go with the leading scorers for this matchup. So we had, for the losing side, Brandon Ayuk had 16 points. Stephon Diggs had 14.80 points. And Daniel Carlson had 14.40. For the defensive side, Max Crosby had 29.50 points. Jaquan Brisker had 16, and Cameron Hayward and Fred Warner had 15.50 points apiece.
Was it Cameron?
Yes.
Cameron. I thought it was Casey. I fucking wrote down the wrong guy.
No.
It was Cameron Hayward, the defensive lineman, not Casey Hayward, the cornerback. Yeah, that was my fault.
Yeah. That's all good.
Was my fault. Should have been paying attention to that. I was quickly judged.
Well, it could have got a little confusing even more because, Cameron Hayward's little brother is a tight end for Pittsburgh.
Oh, for real?
Yes.
Backing up Mr. Fryermuth.
Yeah.
Oh, Muth.
Fryermuth.
Fryermuth.
All right. For the winning side, Cordero Patterson had 26.60 points. Justin Herbert had 23.70, and Deebo Samuel had 22.40 points. On the defensive side of that, New England defense had 23 points. Nick Bosa had 10, and Aaron Donald had 9.
Player of the game was the Patriots defense that put up that 23, which was well over their projection of 12.53.
Yes. All right. So go ahead and kick us off on the next game, sir.
Next game was the Bucs Life versus the Crimson Elephants, and the Crimson Elephants took a loss huge in this one, 278.12 to 208.02. This was a 70.10 point win margin for the Bucs Life, and I believe it was the highest of the week. It was the highest of the week. I don't believe. I know it was.
Yeah, I don't. It's not a belief. It's acknowledgement. All right. The leading scorers in that matchup for the Crimson Elephants, Tony Pollard had 36.90 points. Justin Fields had 24.62. And George Pickens had 18.30 points. On the defensive side, Zaire Franklin had 15 points. Aiden Hutchinson had 13. And DeMarcus Lawrence had 8.50. For Bucs Life, Devontae Adams had 33.10 points. Amari Cooper had 31.30. And George Kittle had 24.40 points. On the defensive side, Chris Jones had 22 points. Ted Hendrickson had 19.50. And David Long Jr. had 16.50 points.
Yep. Player of the game was Chris Jones with that 22 points, who put up well over his projection of 6.03. And this wasn't a bad game for Crimson Elephants. He would have beat 7 other teams in the league this week. Chris just had freaking outstanding defense this week. I mean, those top 3 weren't the only ones that put up double digits for him.
Because I think there was a few that had like
11.
11.
There was like one for 14, and there was like 3 of them that had 11 and a half like area.
Yep.
I was like, Jesus, man. I think only 2 people on his defense didn't put up double digits, and one of them was the team defense.
Yeah. Yep.
Or no, sorry, 3. 2 defensive players. One of them put like 3 points, one put 9 points, and then his team defense put up like 3 points. So it was crazy. I was like, holy crap, man. That's a great defensive week.
It just domination.
Yeah. We'll get into the next game. Next game was the Angels versus the Hammerheads. Hammerheads come out victorious in this tie in the series this year at 1-1 in the Tangle and the Trailer. 246.58 to 202.60. This was a 43.98 point win margin for Hammerheads, and it was the 3rd highest point win margin of the week.
All right. Leading scorers for the Angels. On offense, Jalen Hurts had 26.20 points. Ezekiel Elliott had 17.70. And Michael Pittman Jr. had 13.50 points. On the defense, Nick Bolton had 23 points. Hassan Reddick had 10.50. And Philadelphia defense had 9. On the winning side, Travis Kelce had 35.50 points. Tyler Bass had 26 points. That's a kicker, by the way.
Yeah.
And Traylon Burks had 18.10 points. On defense, Jets defense had 16 points. Kirby Joseph had 13.80 points. And Jaron Curse had 12.50 points.
Well, I think y'all know who player of the game was in this one. Tyler Bass with 26 points, who more than
Tyler
doubled
Bass.
his projection of 10.54. So,
yeah, he was
and
huge.
even if he didn't have a 10 point, yeah, well, that was a high projection for him last week. And I mean, even if he didn't have that higher projection, he still would have been player of the game with 26 points as a kicker.
Yeah, he blew it out of the water. That was just amazing.
All right, we'll get into the next game, which was the Dragons versus Hendrix Mafia. Dragons come out on victorious with 262.06 to 194.58. This was a 67.48 point win margin for the Dragons, and it was the second highest win margin of the week.
All right. Leading scorers in the game for Hendrix Mafia. David Montgomery had 21.10 points. Donovan Peoples-Jones had 17.10, and Allen Robinson had 14.70 points. On defense, Micah Parsons had 19. TJ Watt had 14 points. And I believe that was his first game back as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Grady Jarrett had 9.50 points. For the Dragons, Joe Burrow, 34.70 points. Derrick Henry, 27.36. And Christian Watson had 21.10. On defense, Washington defense had 23 points. Quay Walker had 15 points. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson had 14 points.
Player of the game was the Commanders defense, who put up 23 points, well over his projection of the 10.95 projection. Believe it or not, the lowest point win margin of the week was that 19.64 between Sean and Legend Killers. That's how pretty, 19 points or more in every game.
And which one?
No, it was between
Sean
Brandon and John Missack.
Oh, yeah.
Pigskin King versus the Legend Killers.
Yes. Yeah, he gave him a run.
Yeah, Commanders defense, that was a lucky stream that week, and it paid off.
Yep.
And what's funny is we'll get into it next week, but I did it 2 weeks in a row, and they were both part of my leading defenders. It was pretty crazy to see that. I was like, man, I'm playing them matchups pretty well with the team defense these basketball weeks. And then this week I'm a little worried because I read the games wrong whenever I went and grabbed my defense. I read last week's game wrong and thought Chicago beat the Jets, and it was the Jets that beat Chicago. And I was like, I did it backwards, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna run with it anyway. I was like, I'm not gonna go out. Like, I might as well deal with it now. But I might look at it on Sunday again,
Hey,
next week maybe. But right now, I'm just gonna stick with it.
We go back and forth over those 100 times for the
All
game
time, exactly. That's why I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just leave it for now. All right, we'll get into that next game, which was the Sin Eaters versus Thad Castle's team. This was the second lowest scoring game, period. Not as far as win margin, just second lowest game, period.
Yeah.
195.98 to 168.56. This was a 27.42 point win margin, which was the second lowest point win margin of the week. But still, neither team broke over 200, so it's pretty crazy.
All right. Leading scorers on that for that matchup for Thad Castle's team. Najee Harris had 27.60 points. Lamar Jackson had 15.46 points, and James Conner had 14.40 points. For the defense, Willie Gay had 19 points, Montez Sweat had 17 points, and CJ Mosley had 11. For the Sin Eaters, and I say that with much disdain this week, Aaron Rodgers had 23.08 points. Josh Jacobs had 19 points. And Aaron Jones had 14 points. Baltimore's defense had 21. TJ Edwards had 16 points. And Deron Payne had 10.50 points.
Yahoo went off the wall with this one with player of the game and put up Randall Cobb as player of the game. Who?
Don't use the bathroom. My brother's in the bathroom.
Tfwr. Randall Cobb put up 13.80, which was well over his projection of 6.96. But I felt the Ravens defense deserved it more with that 21 points, which was well over their projection.
Yeah.
Of 13.01. It's good Zuta. But that's all right. Excuse me is what I meant. Like, Jesus. Yeah, Ravens defense, player of the game, 21 points, well over projection, 13.01. We'll get into that next game, which was the last game of Week 11, which was the Kush Crushers versus Orange Crush. This was the middle of the pack, third lowest win margin of the week. The score was 180.96 to 151.60, and Orange Crush come on top by 29.36 points.
All right, the leading scorers in the game for the Kush Crushers, Jamal Williams had 24.40 points. T. Higgins had 23.80 points. And Harrison Butker had 14.50 points. For the defense, Rashawn Evans had 9.50. John Johnson III had 9 points. And Harrison Smith had 9 points as well. For Orange Crush, on offense, Patrick Mahomes had 33.46 points. DeAndre Hopkins had 18.10 points. And Jonathan Taylor had 16.40 points. For the defense, Jonathan Allen had 20 points. Dre Greenlaw had 13.50 points. And Jermaine Pratt had 13 points.
Player of the game, and this one was also another one by Yahoo that was weird that I switched up. They put Richie James as the player of the game, who put up 15.50 points, which was a little over his projection of 9.09. I went with Jonathan Allen, who put up 20 points, which was well over his projection of 11.29.
I concur.
All right, well, that's the end of Week 11's matchups. We'll get into the offensive and defensive player of the week and the coach of the week.
The offensive player of the week is going to go to none other than Tony Pollard. Did everything he could to try to keep the Crimson Elephants in it. I mean, he worked his behind off in that game.
Yeah, he did.
And for the defense was Max Crosby,
who did everything he could to try to keep the Pigskin team in the game against the Legend Killers. Or no, is he on the Kush Crushers?
No. I think he had him last year. I'm thinking of last year. I believe he had him then.
Yeah, he's on the Pigskin. Okay, I was about to say, hold up, man.
Yeah, it got me messed up. I was like, wait.
All right, we'll get into the coach of the week, which was none other than my co-commissioner, my co-host, John Creel. He knocked off the number 3 Angels, which made her tie with me in record, and I ended up moving up one spot into that number 3 spot. And then another rough week coming up in week 12, which knocked her down or kept her in that number 4 spot. But either way, she's still in the top 4 and she's already made the playoffs. So
yeah, she's clinched.
Yeah, she's clinched. Everybody from 1 to 4 is clinched. Everybody
And
below
that was a
that.
conversation. That's a conversation we had. She was worried. She goes, "If I lose the next 2, I'm out." I'm like, "No, mathematically, there's no way you can't do
No.
it." I said, "You're in. This is your congratulations. Go ahead and soak it in now. This is your first playoff."
I'm pretty sure she's mathematically in. Yeah. Even the 5th place team, what, a 7-5?
No, I think right
Or
now
7-6. I mean, or no, 6-6.
no,
No, I don't know. I think everybody's
I think
5-7.
everybody's 5 and
Yeah.
7 from there on.
Yeah. Yeah. Ben, you,
So
Lindsay, Miller,
I think
Jeff. I think
one
there's
of them,
like 5 of them.
one of them's up on me because I think they've got more points than I do, total points. Because I'm in 6th right now.
Yeah, Ben's up on you right now.
Yep.
He's in 5th place spot. All right, we'll get into
person I'm playing this coming week. Yay! All right.
We'll go into week 12 results. First matchup of the week was the Legend Killers versus the Orange Crush. Legend Killers got the victory in this one, 213.40 to 178.80. This was a 34.60 point win margin for the Legend Killers, and it was the 3rd highest win margin of the week.
All right. Leading scorers in the matchup. Orange Crush offense, they had Patrick Mahomes had 20.40 points. DeAndre Hopkins had 19.70 points. And Jonathan Taylor had 18.80, which oddly enough was the exact same 3 in the exact same order as week 11.
Yeah, just different points. That's crazy.
On the defense, Quandre Diggs had 22.40 points. Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
My mistake. I skipped to a different game. Whoops.
I was like, what?
There's my whoopsie.
I was like, he's not even on that team.
I give him different players. Watch this. All right. On the defense, let's try that again. Take 2. San Francisco defense had 18 points. Christian Wilkins had 10.50 points. And Zach Allen had 9.50 points. For the Legend Killers, Justin Herbert, or A-Bear, whichever one, 34.76 points. Justin Jefferson had 29.34 points. And Saquon Barkley had 15.20. On the defense, Isaiah Simmons had 16 points. Xavier Howard had 10.60. And Nick Bosa had 9.50 points. Player of the week was?
Player of the game, you mean?
Player of the game was? I'm trying to jump ahead.
Isaiah Simmons, 16 points, which was nearly doubling his projection of 8.65 points.
Yes. Well,
next game, sorry, spaced out there.
No, you're good.
Next
You're good.
Is the number 2 Bucks Life facing those number 5 Sin Eaters. Bucks Life got the loss in this one. Sin Eaters didn't let the Bucks Life pillage them, and they came out with a victory, 255.10 to 240.44. This was a 14.66 point win margin for Sin Eaters, and it was the 2nd lowest win margin of the week.
Leading scorers were on offense for Bucks Life. Kyler Murray had 29.24 points. Chris Godwin had 29 points. And Rashad White had 20.90 points. On the defensive side for the Bucks Life team was Derwin James Jr. with 17.50 points. Chris Jones with 8 points. And Quincy Williams with 7 points. For the Sin Eaters, on offense, Josh Jacobs had 49.80 points. Samaje, is that right?
Samaje, yeah.
Samaje Perine had 19.30 points. Aaron Jones had 18.90. On defense, Josie Jewell had 14.50 points, and Alex Highsmith had 13 points. Desmond King II had 11.80 points.
Player of the game, Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs.
I mean, 49.80 points was more than doubling his projection of 15.11 points. Just a huge game for Josh Jacobs. Complete opposite for Chris's defense this week.
Yes.
Last week, nearly everybody double digit. This week, he only had one player that double digit. So
Exactly.
complete opposite. And after that 7 points, I believe the next person was like 450, and then he had like a couple people with threes. Like, it was bad. It looked real bad this week. Next game was the Dragons facing the Pigskin King. Dragons got the victory 244.50 to 214.46. This was a 30.04 point win margin, and it was the fourth highest win margin, third lowest win margin of the week.
All right. The top scorers in the game for the Pigskin King, the very unavailable Stephon Diggs had 21.70 points. Tua Tagovailoa had 17.96 points.
Our other co-host, Miss Pam Creel, sneaking in a little hello to everybody.
Hello. And Jeff Wilson Jr. had 12.20 points. Oh, here we go. Now we're going to straighten things up. On the defensive side, Quandre Diggs had 22.40 points. Jack Sanborn had 18.50, and Kansas City's defense had 14 points. We miss you too.
Yep. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Get rested up. All right. Leading scorers for the Dragons. Amon Ra St. Brown. That's the first time all year I've had to say that. Amon Ra St. Brown had 27.90 points. Christian Watson had 21 points. And Joe Burrow had 20 points. For the defense, Foye Aliukin had 24.50 points. Miami defense had 22. This must be the Miami defense that you picked up that you were talking about. Yeah, gotcha.
Commanders last week, Commanders the week before, Miami last week. I mean,
well, I'm hoping to pull that same stuff off because I didn't like the matchup that the Jets had, so I went with a different defense.
Against Minnesota? I know.
Yeah, I didn't like that. And to round it out, Brian Burns had 18.50 points. You had a week like Chris had on your defense.
Yeah, my defense
last week.
Very good this week.
Yeah, they went off pretty good. So yeah, it was there was a lot.
My offense really didn't do all that great, but my defense.
That's what I was gonna say. Majority of your points were scored from your defense on that.
100. There was still like 3 or 4 after that had like 14, 13, 13, 11. Yeah, I did good on defense this week, but my offense, it was pretty much after that 20 points from Joe Burrow. It was like very minimal after that. I had one guy put up 0 points, and that was Giovanni Bernard. Came back from free agency and from IR. I mean, so I was like, oh yeah, he'll be trusted for some passing downs by Tom Brady right out the gate. No, I don't know shit about the Bucs.
Right. Yeah, I haven't kept up with them. I've got Tom Brady on my team, and I really haven't kept up with them as much as I need to, I guess.
Well, player of the game was Foye Aliukin. 34.50 points, which was well over his projection of 10.44 points. But I got to give honorable mention to that Miami defense, man. They were so close to making it 2 weeks in a row where my team defense led. my team on defense, and it was both free agent pickups just playing that matchup. Excuse me. We'll get into the next game, which was the Angels versus the Thad Castles team. This was 200 a victory for Thad Castles and team, 262.96 to 215.92. This was the polar opposite of what Thad Castles team put up last week with that 168.56. He nearly almost got 100 more points than he put up last week.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, his team was huge this week.
Yeah, it was crazy. This was a 47.04 point win margin for Thad Castle's team, and this was the third highest win margin of the week.
All right, leading scorers for the Angels on offense. Jalen Hurts had 34.82 points. Michael Pittman Jr. had 20.10 points. And Ezekiel Elliott had 16.50 points. On defense, Nick Bolton had 21 points.
That dude's been a stud.
Yes, he's been huge quite a few weeks. Sam Hubbard had 14.50 points, and Kenny Moore II had 9.50 points. For Thad Castle's team on offense, Lamar Jackson had 25.06 points. James Conner had 21 points, and DJ Moore had 20.30 points. On the defensive side, for Thad Castle, Julian Love had 19.70 points. L'Jarius Sneed had 19.60 points. And CJ Mosley had 13.50 points.
Player of the game.
If you ask me, it's a pick 'em between Julian Love and L'Jarius Sneed.
I mean, it's 0.001 points, but I gave it to Julian Love, as Yahoo did, because he was well over his projection of 7.09, where L'Jarius Sneed, I think, had like a 9-point-something projection, or maybe even higher than that. So that's why they gave it to Julian Love, and I kind of agreed with it. They more than doubled his projection. You know, it was a damn good game.
Yeah, they were huge. All right.
Next game. Hammerheads facing the Crimson Elephants. Hammerheads come out with a victory, 212.22 to 158.98. This was a 53.24 win margin, and this was the second highest win margin of the week.
All right. For the Crimson Elephants, on offense, Keenan Allen had 15.90 points. Himi Garapollo had 15.28 points. And Justin Tucker, that bad motherfucker, had 14.50 points. Alex Anzalone had 15.40 points. Logan Wilson had 11 points. And then we had a tie at 8 points between Zaire Franklin and Deron Harmon. For the Hammerheads, the defending champion Hammerheads. Sorry, I had to fit that in there. Austin Eckler had 25 points. Rookie of the Year, Geno Smith, had 23.32 points. DK Metcalf had 20 points. On defense, Michael Walker had 14.20 points. The Jets defense had 12 points. And Drew Tranquil had 11 points.
Player of the
game.
None of them. Player of the game was Treylon Burks with that 17-point game. He was well over beat his projection of 10.68 points.
Yes. He's been huge since he came back, man. Yeah,
yep. Except for the first game. The first game it was Nick in Idahinki Hene or whatever his name is, Westbrook. He went off for like 26 points the first week that Treylon was back. Even though Treylon still did good in that game.
I'm just saying, for my team, he has been that point getter that I was needing. You know,
especially a receiver with A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf just not playing up to the past couple
Yeah,
years.
I mean, AJ was huge at the beginning of the year, but he was the only one. It's been hit or miss with those guys. Like last year, like everybody was on the same. I mean, they were hitting all at the same time. This year, it's been hit or miss with those guys. And Traylon Burks, since he came back, I believe I've had 18 points or more with both weeks. So yeah,
he's been pretty good. Definitely living up to the reason why they drafted him so early and traded away A.J. Brown.
Yep, and the whole reason I kept him.
Funny.
I
you
snatched
got A.J. Brown, they traded him away, and then you got Treylon Burks in the free agency, which was
yeah. Well, I mean, as soon as he got injured, I was going through there, and I had a spot. I said, you know what? I'm happy with the team. Somewhat happy with the players that I've got. I really don't want to get rid of them, but I got a spot where I could bring him in, and he might help. And he has did exactly what I needed.
Yep.
Hopefully, it carries over into the playoffs. If I can get to the playoffs, maybe
I know I'm starting to look towards playoffs myself right now, and I had to catch myself not adding players just to add them because of playoffs. Because if I'm gonna screw myself for these next 2 weeks, and I don't care that I've already clinched the playoffs. I'm trying to get as many wins as I can. I'm trying to build my record.
Oh, I got you. I understand completely. I mean, if you think I want to go into this playoff at 7-7, you're out of your freaking mind. But if that's what gets me there, by God, I'm doing it.
I feel you. I feel you. All right, we'll get into the last game of Week 12, which was the Hendricks Mafia facing the Kush Crushers. Josh battle of the Joshes. This ain't the Josh Bowl. That's in the consolation bracket. This is the Battle of the Joshes 2.0 for this year. And Hendricks Mafia was able to pull out the victory 220.72 to 213.06. This was a 7.66 point win margin for Hendricks Mafia in this, which was the lowest point win margin of the week.
Damn, that was. All right. The leading scorers for Kush Crushers on offense, Kirk Cousins had 27.86 points. T. Higgins had 24.40 points. And Stevenson. Where the hell was I thinking of?
I was like, what?
I'm thinking of
did he change his name?
I created a whole damn person. I just created a whole damn person.
Like, did you
this is somebody I must have had on
Madden.
Ramondre Brown. Yeah, okay. Ramondre Stevenson had 20.20 points. On defense, Tampa Bay defense had 11 points. Mike Edwards had 11 points. And Rashawn Evans had 10.50 points. For Hendricks Mafia on offense, Josh Allen had 33.92 points. Garrett Wilson had 26.40 points. And DeAndre Carter had 22.80 points. On defense, Micah Parsons had 16.50 points. Jordan Brooks had 12.50 points. And between Dorrance Armstrong and Jalen Petrie had 8 points apiece.
Player of the game. Yep, Garrett Wilson, 26.40 points, well over his projection of 12.58 points. I'm pretty sure he doubled his projection of 12.58 because that'd only be like 25.16, I think.
Yeah.
So he definitely hit over that with the 26.40. Huge game for Garrett Wilson. I believe it was his first game of the season that he actually did anything. So couldn't have been a better time for Lindsay.
Well, they finally had. Well, I don't want to say finally had decent quarterback play.
I like Mike White. I like Mike White. I liked him last year whenever he played a couple games for Zach Wilson. Yeah. I don't like Zach Wilson. I've said it since the draft that he's just a Johnny Manziel type quarterback. Like, that's just who he is. And he's not going to
all the huff and puff and
all the huff
nothing
and
to
puff
show.
about what he did in college and at BYU was exactly what it is, huff and puff. I think
Yeah.
Davis Mills for the Texans was a better quarterback, but he's
Yeah, who
not
do you
doing
think
anything
you are,
either.
dude? Ty Detmer, you know?
Yeah. David Carr.
Whichever one, I don't know.
I believe that I definitely think Davis Mills is still the better of the two, but Davis just he's struggling there in Houston.
Well,
I think he lost his job to a backup this past week, or he might have been injured. I don't pay attention to the Texans that much.
Me either. I mean, honestly, who was it that came in for him and played?
Another guy named Mike something. I have to grab my other phone, but it's behind me.
Yeah, it's probably not that important right now.
Yeah, it's not that important, but he came in this week. I know that I have Davis Mills in a couple of my sleeper leagues, which I'm dropping out of sleeper. I'm tired of that app. It's crazy. It's crap. Yeah. Even on my brand new phone, it runs like crap. It's just a garbage.
That's just like we had talked about last year. That's just a case of a format trying to put too much time into graphics.
Presentation.
Exactly. Too much.
I mean, don't get me wrong. For some reason, their scores are updated a whole lot quicker than Yahoo's. Yeah. But that's about the only good thing about Sleeper is the scores are updated whenever the games are done and shit. Whereas the rest of it's just crap. Like I said, it's just over presentation over fucking fantasy football.
Yeah. Fantasy football don't need graphics.
Yeah, exactly. Player of the weeks.
Player of the week. On offense, we had Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs was huge. Yeah. 49 points. I mean, what else can you say about it? I mean, he was just huge in the game.
49.80, almost 50 points. He's 0.20 away from. He's literally 20 yards.
Yeah.
No, I don't even think it's 20 yards. I think it's 2 yards. I think he's 2 yards away.
Yeah, 2 yards away from 50. So
20 yards would have gave him 2 points. So yeah, he was 2 yards away from getting 50 fucking points.
So he's 20 yards away from 51. So
yeah. 22 yards away from 52.
Holy shit. That's amazing how that goes, right?
Yeah.
It's called math.
Math.
Math is a really cool thing. So get off your ass. Let's do some math.
Math. And 2 plus 11 equals. You can tell I'm a Jack Black fan. Like,
right. Oh shit! All right, for the defensive player of the week was none other than Ed Oliver, who was a free agent at the time of his score.
31 points.
Far, he's been 31. That's
which
right.
was
and
well over his projection of 6.65.
Yeah, that's pretty damn far.
So like, almost. I think that's quadrupling it. Like 6 times 4 is 28. No, 24. Yeah, that's well over fucking quadrupling that.
Yeah, he topped it.
Damn.
And he's on the Sin Eaters now, so don't go running out there trying to pick him up.
Don't go looking for him. He's playing for the Sin Eaters tonight as we speak.
That's right. The game's fixing to get underway.
Kick off, yeah. Coach of the week, none other than Mr. Drum roll.
Benjamin Wilson.
Beat the shit out of Chris Holling. That's what we wanted for the week. Helped me move up into number 2. Thank you, Ben. That's why you got Coach of the Week. No, I'm just playing. It's because you beat the number 2 team.
Now what we need is for him to drop and fall completely on his ass this week.
You do.
Well, I do.
I'm not worried about those games. I like the competition.
Yeah, that's under me. That's under me, right?
That's
peasants.
beneath me.
What?
So that's beneath me.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm just being like I love the competition level from the
It
fifth
is
spot
tough,
all the way down. I
right?
mean, with the exception of Miss Zach and Sean, I believe everybody has a chance. So it's
Yeah,
maybe
I
pull
think
off
those.
some
I think those
craziness.
are the two that are mathematically pretty much out of it.
Yeah, they're out. Yeah. I know Sean. I think Sean was out last week when he lost, and then I
Yeah,
think Miss Zach was out this week when he lost. But
and
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Miss Zach, they might have both went out, previous weeks. But
the frustrating part for him is for Sean is if you look at his players, his damn players have not wanted to cooperate with him at all
no,
year. I
man,
mean,
they've been
he'll
random all fucking year
he'll
long.
put he'll put he'll put the people in that should be performing, but they just don't end up performing for him. And it's like, what the hell? And it wasn't until he got Justin Fields. Whenever he picked
Yeah,
up Justin Fields, and all of a sudden he started seeing an uptick in points, and it's just he's just had a
and
rough
see,
year.
that's the thing. Justin Fields was out this past week,
Yeah,
so they had the backup in Chicago, and then he had to play Jimmy.
yeah.
Jimmy. I
And
mean, he
Jimmy's
does.
not a big point
He's
scorer,
not a big, exactly. He's not a big point scorer. And then I mean, with Keenan Allen only putting up 15 points
and
this week, and him
and
being the leading scorer, so it
well,
was just
not
a
only
rough
that,
week.
on his bench he had Zay Jones and he had
Yeah,
Hasty, and they
yeah,
had
and
20
both
points
of them
apiece.
went
Who
off.
the hell
Yeah,
would have
both
thought
of
they
them
were
went
going to
off.
put that up?
And on defense, he had Aiden Hutchinson, who's been in top scorers, a couple weeks
Yep,
in a row,
and he
with
pulled a zero.
zero.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like
So
just
he
a rough
just
week,
hasn't had
man.
no luck.
It's
And
all about them matchups.
I'm hoping for his sake, man, that with that pickup, because that keeper value for Justin Fields is huge,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely huge. So
It's definitely better
hopefully
value than Tua's
yeah,
value.
hopefully
He
it'll
had
give
Tua in
him,
like the 10th round. He's
yeah,
getting
yeah.
Fields in like what, that 18th, 19th round.
Because
Like,
there was a lot of people. I mean, a lot of fantasy that were saying that Tua was pretty much going to go at round 10 anyway. So he pretty much got him where he just solidified that he was going to have him.
exactly. Yep.
But yeah, that Justin Fields pick right there may propel him back into the playoffs again. We could be looking at comeback player.
Yeah.
So,
Next year. Yeah.
Yep.
Right now, there is no comeback coach of the year. I mean, Pam would be that comeback coach of the year but she barely missed the playoffs last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Me, Chris, and
Oh
well,
yeah.
no, Brandon got comeback coach of the year last year, so there's no way
Yeah.
in hell he gonna get
Yeah,
it
I mean,
twice
you
in a
can't
row.
get a comeback. You can't get
You
comeback
can't
2
come
years in a
back
row.
from being a comeback.
When you come back, there's nothing to come back from. So
yeah, like you're there now. Like shit, you made the playoffs last year. I think you came in third place, fourth place, third or fourth
yeah, I
place.
believe he
So
was third
yeah,
or fourth.
fucking
Yeah.
yeah, you can't come back from that. You was in playoffs 2 years in a row now, and you're fucking leading the league. Like fuck you. Yeah, Pam is definitely. Yeah, she's definitely comeback
Yeah.
coach of the year. I mean,
But
she slightly
like
missed
I
playoffs
say,
last year.
we still got a lot. We still got a lot of games to play. We're
I don't know,
as
but
we
their
say this.
record will their records make them worthy enough of being comeback coach? You know what I mean?
Well, see,
Like Ben,
that's the thing.
because I'm
I
pretty sure
think it's
Ben
all
had
gonna.
an all right record last year. He just slightly missed the playoffs. I think him. Matter of fact, he didn't. He made the playoffs last year, so he
Well,
can't be comeback coach. Like,
well, you got to think about it like
you
this.
can't be comeback coach. You
No,
can be comeback coach of this year,
maybe
period,
it's a
because
week.
you started at the bottom and then you made your way back into playoffs, but not from the
But
year to year.
we have to see how it ends up.
Well, we definitely
Because
do.
at the end of the day,
If
it's got
Miller
to.
finishes 7-7 or Lindsay finishes 7-7, Lindsay can't get it. He was number 2 last year. It'd be
Yeah.
between Miller, Ben, and I know it would be between Miller and Pam. And if it just all depends on how these last 2 games fall. If Pam lose 2 games in a row, she'll be what, 8-6 or 7-6?
But then that begs the question: this. So
8-6.
do you give Coach of the Year to and comeback Coach of the Year, or do you give Coach of the Year to a team that doesn't win the championship? You
I mean,
get what I'm
Coach of the
saying?
Year right now, right now, it's John. He's got one loss. I mean,
Oh, no, it's Brandon.
Brandon. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Legend Killers, Brandon Green. He's got
Yeah,
one
I
loss.
mean, he's running away with that.
He'd
But
have to lose the last 2 games of the year this week and next week for it to even be.
well, I mean, besides that, all right.
Because I normally give it to. I normally make my decision on Coach of the Year before the championship game.
Oh, okay.
Last year I didn't because it was between you and Lindsay, and y'all were both in the damn championship. So it was like, okay, whoever wins fucking championships gets. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
The year before that, who did we give Coach of the Year before that? Shit, I got the papers right here, I believe.
I think the Coach of the Year went to Josh Miller.
Josh?
Yeah, because he won the championship.
No, not that year.
Yeah. Yeah,
No.
he won it in 20.
He won it before you? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he did win it before you. You're right. Josh did win it. He won Owner of the Year, and Comeback Coach of the Year was Sean Stevens that year.
That's right. Because he had come back into the play.
I got it right here.
Yeah.
Owner of the Year, Pam. It was between Pam, Josh, and Chris, and Josh won the championship, so it went to Josh.
Yep. Because it came down because Pam was in the running because she limped along with piecing her team together and just missed the playoffs.
Yep, that's right. I remember that. Yep. All right, well, we'll get into week 13 matchups. The number 1 Legend Killers facing the number 9 Kush Crushers.
Yeah.
If there's one week we need Miller to win, it's this week.
Actually, I don't. I need I need Brandon to keep trucking along, brother. That's fine. Woo, woo. I love you, Miller, but you got to go, dude. I need you out of contention.
Yeah, I mean, the number 2 Dragons facing the number 8 Orange Crush. You need me to win that one.
I do.
The number 3 Bucks Life facing the number 10 Thad Castles team. You're pretty sure you need Chris to win that.
Yeah, pretty much.
The number 4 Angels versus the number 12 Crimson Elephants. I don't think that game is even of any relevance.
That one's. I mean,
that's
that
not
for any way.
For relevant. I don't think it's relevance for playoff matters.
No,
because she's automatically in and he's automatically out. So, and then the game of the week, number 5 Sin Eaters versus the number 6 Hammerheads. I'm pretty sure you want yourself to win in that one.
I would like to, yes, very much so.
And then the number 7 Hendrix Mafia facing the number 11 the Pigskin King.
Come on, Miss Zach. Come on, Miss Zach.
You need everybody 5 and 7 to lose.
Come on, Miss Zach.
Get up there. Oh, that's hilarious. I'm over here like I could care less what happens as long as I win. I don't give a shit about the rest of them.
I'm like, dude, fly dragons fly. Come
on, Legend Killers. I know what you're thinking though, man. You're like trying not to break that playoff streak. I believe me, you, and Chris are the only ones that haven't missed the playoffs.
I'm that
even then, Chris might have missed the playoffs in one of them years.
So after this year, or after the way this year's gone, that would be an accomplishment for me just to make it to the playoffs, because I thought I was dead in the water. I was like, oh my God. But then all of a sudden to find out, oh, you're sitting in 6th place. All you got to do is maintain. That's going to be the hard part. That's going to be very hard.
See if I can find these playoff records that I had wrote down. Nope, that's in the other book. I was going to see how many. I was going to see what Bucks Life's. Actually, it's in this folder. It's just in a different section, I believe.
The playoff record.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever missed.
That's what I was thinking. Pretty sure that he's. This is last year's scores. So where's the papers for? Oh, maybe it is in the other book. I think that's in this. Oh, damn! I just closed it.
Oopsies.
Actually we're done with this, so I don't need that. All right, let me grab the other book real quick. The other Thunderdome fantasy book, right here.
The annuals. Oh, that's lovely.
Bucks Life. Nope, he's been in the consolation bracket one time.
Oh
He
man,
has a record of 2-1 in the consolation bracket. So yeah, the only two teams that have not went to the consolation bracket is me and you.
that's crazy.
I'm happy
know,
about
right?
that. I'm trying
Hey,
not to
me
be
too.
too asshole about it, but
I'm not me either. I love it.
Yeah.
I love the fact that
I mean,
I've
I
been
got a
able to
shitty
maintain.
playoff record, obviously, with only one championship, but fuck, I've been in the playoffs every year. I've been talking about how I want to be that dynasty team. Well, I'm at least a playoff contending team.
Yeah, I know, right? And I hate the fact that this year will make the second time that I have basically snuck into the damn playoffs. If I get into the playoffs, if I get into the playoffs, I should say.
Yeah.
Because
This game's confusing me because the Patriots got on their old helmets and their red jerseys with
hey,
white
man,
pants.
I like the old unis.
I like
myself.
the old Patriot unis too, but when you're playing the Buffalo Bills, it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's literally the same fucking colors.
They should have coordinated with them on something. They're like, hey, can you guys wear a different helmet, please?
The Bills should have at least wore their old helmet. Didn't they have the old blue helmet?
Yeah.
No. I'm thinking
red.
I'm thinking of
It
Giants.
was red.
They had the old red helmet, but I'm
They
thinking of
had a
Giants.
red helmet with the buffalo on it.
The Giants had the blue helmet with the spelled out Giants on the side rather than the New York symbol.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, to be honest, the helmets that they have on right now are more like their original throwback helmets. The ones that
Bills?
the ones that they had during their Super Bowl runs, they were red.
Yeah. I remember when Jim Kelly was wearing red and shit like that.
Mm-hmm. All right, come on, Singleton, Terry, Dingy guy. Run it. I don't know why I wanted to call him Singleton. Singletary. Oh, don't limp.
Come on, Cook. Give it to Cook. Give it to Cook. Oh, that's not Cook. Yeah, that's an incomplete. Oh, that's your guy. Never mind.
Yeah, I need that guy.
Whoops. I thought Singletary stopped. I didn't know he kept on going with the route. I thought he took the fake handoff and started blocking. Wrong guy.
Whoopsie.
Whoops.
So, yeah, that's Hines in the backfield.
Oh, Hines is the other one? I thought it was Cook was the other one.
That's Naheem Hines right there. Incomplete pass. Okay, now we're just broadcasters. That's cool.
Start talking like the Manning brothers over here.
We got our own show now. That's awesome.
Oh, big catch by Diggs. First down.
Oh, see, that wouldn't work because you're way behind me. You're either way behind me or way ahead of me.
I think I'm ahead of you.
It's a third and 11 right now.
Yeah, and Diggs gets the first down. I'm ahead of you. Did you just watch the Singletary incompletion? Yeah, I'm ahead of you.
No, I just seen the shovel pass to Hines.
Oh, yeah, they're in front of me then because I don't see no shovel pass to Hines.
Yeah, they just got a first down because there was a big shovel pass to.
Where at?
At the Well, let's see. Now they're down to
On the Patriots side of the field or on the
30.
Bills
Yeah,
side?
they're on the Patriots side.
Okay, yeah, because they're on the Patriots side now on the 50, so obviously you're in front of me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you see the matchups for this week scrolling on that bottom crawler. We'll see you guys next
Absolutely.
Thursday for the next Thunderdome Fantasy Weekly Report. Commissioner out. Peace.
All right, y'all.